So you've just logged into Old School RuneScape. You open up that world map and you feel it, right? That dizzying feeling of where do I even start? It's a huge world, packed with monsters. Well, today we're going to fix that. We are breaking down the ultimate bossing ladder, your personal guide from absolute rookie to total legend. First, just let this number sink in. 68. That's how many unique, repeatable bosses are waiting for you. And that's not even counting the 40 or so one-off bosses you fight in quests. It's a literal mountain of content, and it's totally understandable to feel a little lost looking up from the bottom. But that feeling, it ends right now. Think of this explainer as your personal map for that mountain. We're going to lay out a clear, step-by-step path that takes you from your very first giant all the way to the legendary raids that define the endgame. Here's our game plan. First, we'll get a look at the 68 boss mountain. Then, we'll cover your very first steps into bossing. After that, it's the mid-game gauntlet, before we step up into the big leagues. We'll get a quick peek at what it takes to become a legend, and finally, we'll get you started on your own journey. Okay, first things first, let's get our bearings. The best way to tackle this whole thing is to stop seeing it as just a random list of bosses. Instead, picture it as a 5-stage climb, where every single stage prepares you for the next one. And here they are, the 5 stages of your journey. It all starts in the early game, where we're just building that foundation. Then we move into the mid-game, which is so critical we've actually split it into 2 parts, one for honing your skills and one for taking on your first major milestone challenges. After that, it's the late game. That's where the real money is. And finally, the end game, the absolute pinnacle of PVM, or player versus monster content. All right, let's start the climb. Stage 1 is all about dipping your toes in the water. This isn't about getting rich quick, not at all. It's about learning the absolute basics of how bossing even works. So the key here is to start small. We're talking combat stats around the 40s and a simple set of rune armor. Honestly, the single most important thing on this list is getting your prayer to level 43 for those overhead protection prayers. They're a game changer. Yeah, the profit is pretty modest, but the experience you gain is priceless. And our first stop is an absolute classic, the Barrows Brothers. This is a rite of passage in OSRS, and it's your first real test of prayer management. It forces you to pay attention, switch your protection prayers for each brother, and navigate those spooky tunnels. And the reward? Some of the best mid-game armor you can get your hands on. Now this shows you how different bosses teach totally different skills. The giant mole, for instance, isn't about complex prayer switching. No, this fight is all about learning to deal with the boss that just won't stand still. It teaches you how to track a moving target and manage your position in the fight. So, once you've got those basics down pat, it's time for the mid-game gauntlet. This is where you take those foundational skills and really start to sharpen them against some much tougher opponents. And yeah, the requirements take a pretty big leap here. Now you're aiming for dragon weapons and, this one is huge, Barrows gloves from the Recipe for Disaster quest. Seriously, they're a massive upgrade for any account. Your focus here shifts from just using your prayers to truly mastering prayer switching when the pressure is on. But you know, among all the challenges in the mid-game, there's one that stands head and shoulders above the rest. It's a true rite of passage, a challenge that separates the beginners from the real, seasoned adventurers. And I'm talking, of course, about defeating Teastalk Jad for the Fire Cape. Getting this cape isn't just about a gear upgrade, it's a statement. Surviving 63 waves of monsters just to face Jad teaches you one thing better than anything else in the game: how to stay calm and nail your prayer switches when everything is on the line. Once you have that fire cape on your back, everything changes. You are officially ready for the big leagues. Stage 4 is where the difficulty really spikes. But you know what? So do the rewards. This is where you start making some serious money. Say hello to Zulrah, the infamous money snake. This boss is a whole new level of challenge. It's not about just reacting anymore. Oh no. Zulrah forces you to memorize complex attack patterns and perform lightning-fast gear and prayer switches on the fly. It's a real brain burner. And the payoff for mastering all that complexity? Well, it's huge. Remember that couple 100,000 GP per hour from the early game? We're now talking about a potential of 3 to 5 million gold per hour. This is exactly why people spend hours and hours learning these bosses. The reward is absolutely worth it. Another pillar of the late game is Vorkath, who you get to fight after completing the Grandmaster quest Dragon Slayer 2. And if Zulrah is a test of memory, Vorkath is a test of pure reaction and endurance. It's all about keeping your damage up while constantly dodging deadly special attacks like acid pools and massive fireballs. And that brings us to the very top, the summit of the mountain, Stage 5. This is the absolute endgame, where the best of the best come to test their skills in the most difficult PvM challenges the game has to offer. This is where you find the big 3 team challenges, the Chambers of Xeric, the Theater of Blood, and the Tombs of Amascot. They all demand incredible teamwork and perfect coordination. And for the ultimate solo player, there's the Inferno, a brutal, unforgiving test of endurance that rewards you with the legendary Infernal Cape, the single best-in-slot cape in the entire game. So, there you have it. We've climbed the whole mountain, from the green fields of the early game right up to the fiery peak of the endgame. Now, it's your turn. Your journey is about to begin. Before you go, let's lock in a few final tips. First, always be training your Slayer skill. It unlocks some of the best bosses in the game. Second, use online guides for your gear. Don't guess. Most importantly, do not be afraid to fail while you're learning. Everyone does. And finally, when you're ready for the big team stuff, find a good clan. Community is everything in this game. We have laid out the map for you, from the Barrows Brothers all the way to Tees Zook. The path is clear, the challenges are set, and the rewards are waiting. So the only real question left is, which boss are you going to conquer first?